Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast. What is it with some kids? They're just so confident that it can rub us up the wrong way. They're not necessarily sensitive to what's going on for other people. They're a little bit rude, arrogant, annoying. They kind of maybe even embarrass us a little bit. Is it them or is it us? Today, a tricky question about how we develop character in our kids when they're a little bit extra, a little bit too much. Stay with us. Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast, Real Parenting Solutions. Every single day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast, we are Justin and Kylie Coulson, and we appreciate so much you listening. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the pod and hopefully pick up on something that might just make your family happier. Every Tuesday on the Happy Families podcast, your tricky questions about family and relationships and well-being and discipline and anything else that you can think of. You can literally ask us anything. If you would like to submit a tricky question, got a super simple system at happyfamilies.com.au. Scroll down to podcasts, click the record button, start talking. It's really that simple. Alternatively, you can just open up your phone, create a voice note, and send that through to podcasts at happyfamilies.com.au. Here is today's tricky question.
Hi, my name's Joanna from Melbourne. I'm looking for some help for my 12-year-old daughter. She's the most delightful, kind and thoughtful girl and is super confident in most things in life, and I love it because she's willing to always give things a go. However, her confidence can be a little bit of an issue at times as it comes across as if she is showing off a bit and bragging. I don't think she even realises she is doing this herself, and it's not done in a nasty, snipey way. It really is just done in a way to get attention. I'm looking for ways to be able to help her with this and teach her to be humble and stop showing off, as I'm worried it's going to start creating issues with friends. But I also don't want to squash her pride and confidence at the same time. Thanks for any help.
So, Kylie, I feel like Joanna has come to the right person or the right people. We've had a running gag.
Hey, don't put me in this.
We've had a running gag in our home for approximately 30 years that I'm the humblest person that I know.
Like I said, this is all you.
Now, it's a joke, I know, but I love to give people humble competitions. I'm so humble, I reckon I could beat you in a humble. I'm proud of my humility. That's how humble I am. On the serious side, though, what I love about this message, Kylie, this voice note from Joanna, is just how highly she speaks of her daughter. Like, you can hear there's this beautiful ability to assume the best of intentions with her, this ability to see what a great kid she is. And I absolutely love that. All right, so let's talk about this. Something that both of us touched on when we were reflecting on where this conversation could go was our experience with our own daughters. We have 6 of them. All of them, except for our youngest, have now reached the age of Joanna's.
If she's got confidence, we want to do everything we possibly can to completely and utterly bubble wrap that confidence.
Yeah, hang on to a bottle.
Oh my gosh.
Get her to drink a big scoop of it every morning and every night.
Because inevitably what we've experienced with each of our 6 girls is at some point, someone, something absolutely annihilates it.
Yeah.
And
when that bubble bursts.
Devastation of watching that bubble burst is so heartbreaking for everybody.
The most popular presentation that I deliver in schools when I'm talking to teenage girls is a presentation called Enough. Asking this question, am I enough? Because, I don't know, something happens between 10 and 14 where girls suddenly lose confidence. I'm certain that social media has a lot to do with it, but it was happening even before Facebook was on the scene. There is a decrease in confidence. There is a decrease, unfortunately. No, it's not across the board. Some girls are immune to it, but there is a general, on average, drop in that feeling of confidence, that willingness to share. So my first impulse is to say, just enjoy it. I know it's annoying. I know it can be embarrassing. Usually it's about us more than about them. And I also get the worry that Joanna's highlighting. Like, my daughter, if she keeps on doing this, it could look like she's rubbing it in people's faces. It could look like she's insensitive because she doesn't understand the struggle that other people are having because she's just aced this test or done really well with this performance or whatever it is. Definitely worth highlighting at this age. A lot of kids are kind of clumsy. Developmentally, we should not be expecting that they're going to have a sophisticated social awareness. I don't think it's fair that we expect, though, that our 12-year-olds have the same level of self-awareness and the same level of humility and the ability to restrain their emotions and their excitement about things to the same level that maybe a 20 or a 30 or a 40-year-old might. So developmentally, I would say that this is normal, but also really generally positive. I don't want it to sound like I'm dismissing your concerns, Joanna, because I get the worry around it. But at a general level, I think this is more of a good problem to have than a bad problem to have.
I would agree with you, but I think that there's a few things that we could do to counter the challenges that she can see coming. She's watching this train wreck about to happen, right? That's right? So she can see what could happen. And so I think that there's definitely some things we could talk about after the break to help navigate this situation.
Confidence is precious. We don't want to dampen it. Too many girls lose their confidence. Adolescence has a way of extinguishing that flame of confidence and delight. But we do want to help Joanna to help her daughter be a little bit more mature in the way that she expresses her enthusiasm and confidence, because sometimes it looks like it could tread on toes. It could become a little bit prickly for her, and we'd like her to have and maintain positive relationships. Kylie, I got a couple of ideas. You've got a couple as well. Let's hear from you first.
So one of the things that I think is really important is helping our children to be people builders. When we give our children opportunities to celebrate other people's successes and achievements, that goes a long way to helping to kind of just curb that sense of bragging that comes as a result of their sharing. We can be really excited about something that we've achieved, and it's not necessarily a brag, but if that's all we talk about and we don't see other people's achievements, then that's when it kind of rubs people up the wrong way.
Yeah, I love that. As an extension, maybe a slight step away, but along the same line, teaching kids to be interested rather than interesting, right? So like when I'm telling everybody what I did, look at what I did, look how good I am, let's wave my little flag around, we're trying to be interesting. But when we can show some curiosity and some interest in what other people are doing, that makes them feel so good. And it makes us look a lot more humble, a lot less prideful. Being interested in others is a big win.
A little while ago, our homeschooled daughter, Emily, was attending some acrobatic classes, and she learned how to do lots of handstands and cartwheels and things. And she was part of this homeschool group, and we were just down at the beach having a gathering together, and the girls all decided to do cartwheels. Now, there were a number of girls in that group who could not do a handstand or a cartwheel to save themselves. And yet the girls who could do it, they rallied around these kids and cheered them on and gave them tips and worked with them to help them achieve the outcome. And what I loved about it was there was this level of confidence in the girls that knew what they were doing, but they didn't actually have to say anything because they were there to help the other people in the space. And it was such a beautiful moment to watch.
Yeah, I really like that. You said you've got a couple of ideas. What's your next one?
So my other idea is just sometimes we want to step in and teach our kids things before they're ready. And we're so worried about the train wreck that's about to happen. We jump in, and in our attempts to stop the train wreck, we actually create the train wreck in that we squash that confidence that we so desperately want to keep intact. And so I think it's just really important as a parent to look for teachable moments. If you are watching an experience, happen and take place, and you can read the body language of another girl, maybe later when you're tucking her into bed or you're having, kind of ice cream down at the park, you might bring up the experience that they had together and ask her if she could, if she noticed anything about the way her friend responded, or what she experiences when this happens, or, just opportunities to kind of help broaden her vision of what's actually happening. Because when we're excited about something, we kind of miss everything, right? Because it's all about me. And the opportunity that we can have to encourage them to look outside themselves and see what's going on around them. It's those teachable moments that actually really help.
So If I was, again, to build on that, my feeling is that there's only so much that you can protect your kids from. And chances are she is going to say something insensitive. She is going to offend somebody, upset somebody, tread on somebody's toes. My sense is that generally friends will teach your daughter more than you will teach your daughter. And as a parent, your job is not to keep on trying to fix her. Your job as a parent is absolute unconditionality. You can always say, hey, I noticed something and I wouldn't mind having a chat with you about it to see how you feel about it or if you've observed it. But my sense is that if you can give her that absolute unconditionality, the friends will teach her. And then when things go south, which they no doubt will at some point, you can be the soft space and say, well, what do we learn from this? You don't have to teach the lessons. You can help her to have her own discoveries.
Yeah.
And she'll learn so much more as a result because pain can be a pretty good teacher. We grow through pain. There's another idea that popped into my head as well, and that is this. If you do feel like you need to frame a conversation around this issue because it is coming up a lot and you're seeing the signals, and it's not just your embarrassment, like the signals are really there, it's useful to frame this around being a good friend and being inclusive. That really piggybacks on your cartwheel story. Rather than showing off, what can we do to say, well, I have a level of competence here and I'd love to build your competence as well. There's really something in that. Ultimately, raising kids is tricky, and our children have got to learn how to become socially aware and socially sophisticated and socially mature. And the best way to do that, unfortunately, is by experience. Yeah, and sometimes those experiences are positive, sometimes not so much. If you can be there for her unconditionally, Joanna, I think she's going to do great. And based on the way that you spoke about her and the way that you introduced this question, I think you're doing a great job. I wish that when I was a kid that I had a mum who spoke about me the way that you speak about her. It's really, really special. All right, we need to wrap it up there. Another question next week. If you'd like to submit a tricky question, our super simple system is available at happyfamilies.com.au. You just click the record button and start talking on the podcast page. Really that simple. Or send us a voice note, podcasts at happyfamilies.com.au. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. We really appreciate Mim Hammonds and the great work she does with research, admin, and other support around the pod as well. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on the pod, where we are going to step carefully into a conversation about school avoidance. Such a challenge. That's tomorrow on the Happy Families podcast. More info at happyfamilies.com.au.